Good morning, Glenn. Everybody was able to come this morning because that was important information that was given to us by Mr. Holt. My experience has been in the medical field since high school, and I started in the Career Center, and then it progressed to being an aide, giving baths for years, 13 years, then went to be an LPN for 8 years, and then put myself through the RN program in 6 months. So I have gravitated to home health care because my husband was in a catastrophic accident when he was 39 years old. And we had home health care in the house. So at that point, it launched me. It was it. And I had my own business, 3 companies that I sold to Beacon Health back in 2013. So I've been retired since I was 59. However, home health care is a very critical part that we're all going to be looking at very shortly. And if it's not for our parents, it's for our spouse or our loved ones. And one of the things that you need to know, and I'm kind of contradicting a little bit of what was told a little earlier, respectfully, Medicare does cover home health care. What it provides is home health care for skilled needs. For instance, my agency, as most agencies, did skilled nursing, physical therapy, occupational therapy, home health aides, speech companions, and homemakers. So this was something that I did 5 years ago. However, it's embedded, and I can talk, and I've helped a lot of our classmates. Medicare will cover if it's a referral from a physician. That would be the first step that you would want to take. And what it does is it launches according to what home health agency you want your loved one to be with. I can't tell you which one's better or worse, but I can tell you this. Make sure, if you do it, you get an agency that is Medicare Part A. The reason for that, and I was the only one in Elkhart and operated that way for 20 years, is that we do not bill the family. Medicare is responsible to pay 100% of that bill. If you're in Part B, agency, and those are normally associated with hospitals because they're not allowed by the government to have an outpatient therapy and be hospital and bill Part A, for you being in the hospital. So they can only do Part B when they branch away from the hospital for an outpatient therapy. And at that point, your Part B kicks in, or that's the only one that can be, they will pay for. I don't know if I just said that. I think I said that correctly. Part B is mainly for your therapy. Outpatient, to go to the doctor's office to get it done, Medicare will pay for it. However, because it's B, probably you will be billed 20% of that therapy visit. But if you're in a home health agency and you have the therapist coming to you, because it's taxing, it's difficult, you cannot make it to there, you're calling on your family to come and get you, try to get you loaded in the car, wheel you up the door, take you home, take you out to lunch, all that. If it's a taxing and difficult effort, there's a qualification under the Medicare guidelines that you can have home health care. They'll come to you. If you have a knee replacement, they'll set you up in your bed, they'll put a machine on you, and it'll exercise your knee. The other thing is with Medicare Part A agencies is that you can have anything that is called intermittent care. So Part A agency or another agency that does Bill B can only do under Medicare skilled care. So for nursing, that would mean I need to give you an IV, or I need to give you an IVIG and be with you for 6 hours that day. It might be that the therapist needs to come in and be with you for an hour to do your therapy, to give you a program. You have an entitlement, and they call it, they're trying to get away from the word entitlement. I don't care what they say. You have an entitlement to have Medicare home health care if you meet the guideline. The guideline, again, could be that you're sick, you got any medication, you're not doing well on your Insulin, you are unable to leave home for long periods of time. So Medicare won't allow you to leave a home to go play bridge every Thursday night. That shows you're not homebound to them. And if you're not homebound, you can't have it. However, you can go to church, you can go pick up your prescriptions, you can go get your groceries, those kinds of things. Skilled nursing does a lot of training, teaching along that line to make you aware of how you can handle yourself independently at home. A lot of people think all I have to do is what I've always done. No, it changes when you age. And so maybe an occupational therapy comes in, she looks at how you've been living, she's going to move all your stuff from your top cabinet, your wheelchair bound down. And she's going to make it to where you can still cook, you can still stay at home and be independent. Physical therapist is going to help you transfer maybe to the bathtub, how to sit down, use the transfer board, get in, and modify some things so that you can stay at home. The whole idea of home health care is to return you to an independent lifestyle. You're now in a compromised position and you need some assistance and maybe you have no family around. So they come in under Part A, Medicare, intermittent, so the nurse might only come 3 times a week, or the therapist would come 3 times a week, or the occupational therapist would come 3 times a week. And a lot of times, I'm just going to be honest with you and straight up, a lot of times the people that have been in the home health industry with the new nurses that are coming out, they should have at least 5 years experience being in a hospital, being in a nursing home, not a doctor's office. You have to have a very strong emergent ability to be able to respond if you should suddenly have a heart attack or if you should suddenly have an episode in your home. And I'm sitting there. It's happened to me a lot. It's happened to me several times where I've gone in and a patient I've never seen before, and suddenly they're expressing what is going on with them and they keel. And so you have to have a nurse that knows what they're doing, so they need to have at least 5 years experience. Home health care is a wonderful thing. There's lots of options, and you are welcome to call me. I did not only the Medicare part, but I did the Medicaid, and another agency was private pay. So I've dealt with all the insurance companies and all those issues around that area. I also am the only one in the state of Indiana, that my agencies had 20 years of perfect surveys. What that means is that you are federally surveyed on an annual basis to be able to operate the next year. So if you run into diffractions or you have other kind of issues, it can shut you down in a heartbeat. So, and what they do is just go in and shut your doors and say, move all your patients to another agency. So, but I had perfect surveys, and so I have a lot of knowledge. It came secondhand, it came very easy for me, and I can steer you in a lot of different directions that would be fitting for your situation, whether it's your mom, your dad, yourself, your spouse, or even a loved one. And on this Social Security Part A and Part B, I want to kind of iterate something here. Part B, just because I retired, I can talk about this a little bit for the last 5 years, that you can pick the option of Part B again, kind of to pull that back to the table. And then what they do is they do penalize you from that point forward for all the months that you did not do it for the remaining of your Social Security. So grab your Social Security Part B. It'll pay for that outpatient therapy you may need, or make sure your mom or dad's hooked up on it. Best wishes to everybody and stay healthy. But home care is there to help you. They can come in the home. Very compassionate, caring people. Drive a lot of miles to meet you and greet you, and usually see about 5 to 6 people a day. And sometimes we're just the highlight of the day, because maybe they live alone and they never have anybody come in and see them, and they sit there at the window waiting for you to come. It's heartbreaking. And then if you get a chance to talk for a few minutes, and meanwhile checking all their their vital signs and stuff, make sure they're okay. But I'm very open to helping anybody, and they've tried to pull me out of retirement, but I had a non-compete clause when Beacon Health bought my agencies, and so I left and went to Tennessee for 4 years, and then I've returned. So, and that's where my career started. Actually, part of it was in Tennessee. So I saw everything not to do in home health care, but I was around the best because it was Vanderbilt, St. Thomas, all of these big hospitals that I also had an opportunity to work in as well. So feel free to call me, and I'm really glad people were here. Is there any questions to that, or you got anybody who wants to? Yes.
Just to qualify, I always think home health care to me is you need help getting in and out of bed, things of that nature that is not covered by A or B. That's what I was worried about. She is correct on skilled. She is talking about skilled home health care is covered. Definitely. Listen to her on that. I'm thinking about the odd stuff. Who's going to help me do the dishes? Who's going to do this? I watched my mother go down helping my father when if she would have had somebody in there to help, it would have made a big difference. So.
Good point.
But I do have plans that can help pay for her services. All right.
Well, if you go to an agency that's Part A,
Right.
it's 100%.
Right.
The qualifiers for each of the physical therapy, or whether it's for skilled nursing, or whether it's for a home health aide, or whether it's occupational therapy, there is criteria. And the criteria is not that difficult. And when you have the younger nurses that haven't had a lot of experience in home health, they'll go back to their agency and say, she didn't qualify. You need to call me. Because they're going to lose home health care if you don't have, or I can't intervene, and I'm willing to do that. Because they don't know what I know. And I've been in it since high school. But actually in the fields of home health care since the 80s. So I know like back my hand.
Sorry, I was in the other room. Do you charge? Are you?
No.
You're just doing this for the goodness of your heart. It's wonderful. Please tell us your phone. Yeah.
Okay.
Phone number and email address.
Okay, my phone number is going to be online, I guess, with this as well. I'm also on Facebook. I don't hide from anybody. I'm kind of out there. But my phone number is 574-320-9999.
Email address?
And then it's P. Fahlbeck. So it's PFAHLBECK@AOL.com. So call me if you've got a family member that's suddenly taken a turn, and ask me, can they have home health care? I was a patient advocate. I've always been a patient advocate. I fight for their rights. When Medicare denied them, I went directly to the state, to the federal government, and proved they were wrong. And I always got it paid. Oh, yeah.
A round of applause, please.
I appreciate you listening to me. If you have any other questions.
I have one question. I have a younger brother. He's on Social Security. He has dementia. And my sister, she's 68. She pretty much takes care of it. His motor skills aren't good. He has a hard time dressing himself. Now he gets on Medicare in the spring, I think March or April. Now is there in-home care for someone like that?
He's actually qualifying now.
Okay, well I appreciate that because
He's
Betty and I have talked.
He qualifies because he's on disability.
She's getting
Now, this is a good one. Yes, because he needs to get a physician to refer him for an evaluation. The evaluations are free in any state, wherever you are, they can come and do that. But he needs to be evaluated as soon as possible. Now, once you have home health care and you had your knee and it got all better and you're doing good and you're independent again, because that's what we do. We make you independent. You gotta go back to living like you were, and we're gonna put you real close to where you were if we can. If we can't, then we talk about other things like hospice and so on and so forth. But say about 3 months from after home health care stopped, and your knee is just not doing right, and you're not able to get out again and do the things that you used to do, you qualify most likely again for home health care. So it's not a one-time little benefit. It is something that you can have ongoing. And you're usually certified for 60 days. So you may have all the services for 60 days, or you might only use 1 or 2 of them. There is no end amount. And you don't have to be in the hospital before you have it. And you don't have to have all these pre-qualifying things that nursing homes require. You need to just simply ask your physician to have a home health evaluation, either on yourself, loved one, or a family member. But in your case there, he already qualifies. He needs to have an evaluation. Simply call your physician and say, he's not doing as well. I need him to have help. But it's specific as to what he's not doing well with.
Well,
Mobility.
my sister sees him every day. He can't really dress himself.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He's
So,
he's not good. He's not good. Probably not going to get better.
well, we never tell the doctor that. We never tell a home health nurse that. Just because they'll say, oh, well, it's not do better than back away.
I'm looking for
So-
options for when he gets med.
You don't know until there's a professional in that house evaluating that person. You don't know. A family member can say that, well, she can do this, that, and the other. Lay low, let the professional evaluate them. Because what you think they can do, like she can get in the tub, but when she got in the tub, she almost slipped, which means it could be a life-threatening event that occurs right there in front of you. So she would need possibly a professional to help re-skill herself so that she can get in the tub safely.
Right.
So what you don't do is don't make that determination. And
He's been evaluated by a doctor, and Betty's been taking care of him, but she's at the age now where she just can't hardly deal with it anymore.
well, he may need a little bit more exploring because he may need some private assistance on the
Well,
side.
I thought he may have to go into a home.
If you can keep him at home, most people want to be there.
Correct.
If you can do that, that would,
Well, I appreciate it.
yeah.
So the first thing starts with an evaluation, in-home evaluation. Is that free?
Yes.
Very good. And who do they call for that?
They can call any home health agency, that they want. They need to, if you have a specific one, say you want AB agency or something like that, you have to tell your doctor that. Because what he'll do is he'll go to the one that he always knows, and he always knows. And the nurses have friends that work at that agency, so we go there. It doesn't mean it's the best. So you want to make sure it's a Part A. It doesn't matter if they're over in South Bend. Part A, no co-pays. It's 100% covered by Medicare.
Indiana only. Well, Michigan?
Well, I was in Michigan too, so I did 17 counties. So Michigan, a little bit different laws there, but it is a federal federal thing. If somebody can provide Medicare or has a Medicare agency, it's a state, same, any place in the United States. If they operate differently, they're breaking the law. So every federal agency doing Medicare has to do it the same way. That's the law. Now when you go from state to state, they may have their own little quirk, never changes the federal law. Federal law comes first, state comes in second. Both are important to operate an agency. Yeah. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Well, call me if you need me.
How about a round of applause, eh?
Thank you.
Pam.
Thank you.
Also, by the way,